Hey everyone, Sharpan here. Today we're going to do a quick overview of the Accute platform. It is a automation workflow management platform for accounting firms and accountants to be able to streamline elements of their business. And we have been working on this now in conjunction with the rest of the Finesse Verse products, and we're very excited to show you what we have today. And this is one of the first versions of this product and one of the first times we're displaying the product. So, you guys are getting to see right off the chopping block. So we're going to do a run through of what people can expect when they use the platform. For now, I've suspended all of the typical kind of validations just so that you guys can get a full picture of what features and functions there are. And so let's get started. So first thing I'm going to do is log in. You can find this at accute.io and you can log in. I already have an account. If you don't have an account, you actually have to click sign up now and it will take you to the Finesse registration. All of the Finesse products go through the same registration. And so you would register for Finesse, you would get invited to Finesse, and then you'd be able to log into any of the Finesse products, including Accute. Since I already have an account, I won't be doing that part, but we'll release a separate video on walking somebody through the registration process. So here, oh, I'm back to the Finesse page. So here I will be now going to Accute and logging in as a member of a team that has already been set up. So this is my email and my password for Accute. And as soon as I log in, I'm greeted with this dashboard, which I will explain in more detail later in this call. First, I just wanted to take a look at the structure of the application so you know how to navigate around it. At the top, we have the main bar, the bar that allows us to switch between the actual application and the settings page for whoever's logged in. It says owner because I'm logged in right now as the owner of a company, of a firm that's using Finesse. I've named that firm Deloitte, so you can see Deloitte is the firm. And if I had multiple firms, I can add multiple firms and switch between the firms at any point in the application. But right now, I'm logged in as and selected for Deloitte. Here you have the Finesse logo and you have an Ask Luca search bar. What this will do is engage our chatbot, our generative AI, which is called Luca, which will allow you to ask it questions on the fly and will enhance your user experience while you're using Acute. On the left-hand side, you have the main modules. For now, I've included all of the modules. Depending on the user privileges that you were granted by your administrator, you may not have access to all these modules, but for the purpose of this demonstration, I've given this user access to all the modules. So the main modules are automation, clients, meetings, services, forms, and if you're an owner of a company, teams, where you can manage your teams. So let's actually start in reverse so that you guys can get an understanding. So if I was the owner of Deloitte, I would come to Teams and I would first start by clicking Staff and I would add my staff members, which I can do by clicking Add New. I can also bulk upload and it would invite all of my staff members. They would get a temporary notification. I mean, they would get a notification with the temporary password saying, welcome, you've been added by Deloitte. Please complete your registration, and then they would be added here under under my staff list. What I can then do is I can place my staffs into staff groups and staff roles. So here I've created a staff group, and I don't think I've created any staff roles, but I could go ahead and do that. This just allows the organization to group together different parts, different staff members, so that they can assign privileges and organize their organization more simply. Then I can also create custom calendars to be able to assign to the staff members I just added. This will allow me to dictate to the system when someone is working. I can then make public facing accountants. So all of my staff members get added, whether they're public client facing accountants or not. But the people that I do want to be able to be booked meetings with and engaged with, I can make them public facing accountants, whereby they become, public, and people can see them and book meetings with them. Finally, if I'm operating a physical accounting practice, I can add multiple locations, whereby the users are able to whereby I'm able to manage the different locations that I'm servicing. So that's what you have in terms of constructing the staffing module is pretty straightforward. You can use this to organize your team and manage your team. Okay. Coming then to services. So here I would be creating the services that my company offers, right? So I would first create a service type. So maybe I would say, let's say here, let me upload an image. Right? Upload an icon and say this is tax preparation services, and describe that. This group of services helps people with their taxes, right? So this is a service category that I've created, and it allows me to then organize services more carefully. So under services, now I would literally create individual services, right? Like if how, what's the duration of the service, describe it, what's the cost, what locations will it be offered at, what's the parent service category, and it would allow me to create a service which is then published inside of my automation system for clients to be able to engage with. Meetings and bookings are where this is where I would see all of my upcoming meetings. This is where I would see the calendar view for those upcoming meetings, whereby clients can, when clients make a booking, it would appear here. If clients are booking consultations, if one of my services is a consultative service and the meeting is booked, that also comes directly here. um Finally, you have, not finally, but the next thing is you have your CRM. Here is where you can add all of your clients, whether they're added automatically as a function of an automation pipeline, or whether they're added by you manually because you're using it to manage your client base. You can bulk upload clients and you can add them one by one and then manage all of them directly here, and add annotations to them to make sure that people follow up, and all of the CRM stuff that's required. Finally, we get to the real kind of bulk of the matter, which is the automation module. So the automation module has a dashboard which informs the user how many tasks is pending for him. If he's assigned a task, how many are there, how many tasks he's received, how many jobs he's received, and how many jobs he's been assigned, as well as if there are any pending tasks or jobs, it would appear here for him to be able to visualize it. He has a sequence of steps that he can now construct, whereby he is able to create the pipeline. So the pipeline is the kind of major building block for the automation system. So you have to create a pipeline to be able to invoke the automation system that we've built. I've already created three, but you can create one directly here, and you can label it whatever you want. So you can create a pipeline for any purpose: internal management, external management, whatever it so may be. So let's say I create a pipeline for acquiring leads, right? And then this pipeline will manage the workflow of acquiring leads. Okay. So here I will publish this pipeline. It automatically gets added as in a pipeline for acquiring leads. And I'm able to see that when I click on it, the flow, there's no flow because I haven't added any of the other building blocks to it. So the building blocks that make up a pipeline are steps, stages, and tasks. Sorry, in a proper order: stages, steps, then tasks. So if we click this, for example, this pipeline is already constructed, you can see here acquisition is stage one, pitch is stage two, and like that you can add multiple stages. These are equivalents of the rows, I'm sorry, of the columns in a typical Kanban board. Inside of a stage you can add steps, so you can do that by clicking here, add new step, And here you're generating the categories inside of a stage. So here I've made one called generate lead, qualifying lead, test pipeline 2, introductory emails, and then organize the steps, right? When you're adding a step, you also can dictate, do you want the jobs to be able to move through this automatically, or do you want the jobs to be able to move through this manually? If you select manually, it will actually stay at the end of the final task inside of the of the stage that, or sorry, of the step that you've created. If it's automatic, it will push it to the next step without waiting. Okay. Then once you created your steps, you have to create tasks. And this is the smallest unit that you can work with inside of the automation pipeline. So here I've made a task called click add. When I add a task, this is where I'm constructing the actual task and what dictating whether it's automated or manual. So I could create a task and say, okay, let this be an automated task, for example. So maybe fill or collect, maybe we'll say send out um, about us document. Okay. So in this task, we will be emailing out a document which explains about the company. Okay. So here I will be able to dictate who it is assigned to if I'm assigning it to anyone. If it's an automated task, I obviously don't have to assign it to anybody. If it's a manual task, I would have assigned it to one of my team members. Then I would dictate which step I'm adding it in. So in this case, it's going to go into generate lead, right? And then order in the step will be 2 because there's already a step here. And then I have to dictate whether it's automated or manual. If I put manual, my job is done. I've added it. I only have to add who the team member is so that they know that they have a job. They have a task that is a part of this pipeline for them to complete. But obviously, we're here for the automation. So let's say you select automation, it then gives you our following automation options, which right now there are 6. You can select from sending an invoice, sending a delivery document, sending an agreement, sending a form, sending a proposal, or scheduling a meeting. So let's say here you're sending a proposal, or let's just say sending a delivery document. And here, then it's going to ask you to create the email structure and attach the file that you want to automate. So let's say the email subject should be, welcome to Deloitte. And then the body could be, uh, dear customer, we are thrilled to have you on board. Of course, you would elaborate on that. Then you would add the file that you want to be delivered to whomever it is. So here, let me just pick a random file. Okay. And then you would click submit. And then the task is now added. If you refresh this pipeline, you can see here, send out about us document. And if you selected this see task profile, you'd see that it's assigned to no one because it's automated. You'd see the details about it, right? And you could even see the automation structure and everything that's involved in it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a job through this, right? So just to be clear, fill out form. Let's check that out. This is a manual task. Click add, I believe, is a manual task, right? But this second task is an automated task. So what now needs to happen is I need to create a job. Job is the actual event that goes through this pipeline. Usually it's related to a customer that needs to get through this workflow, but it could be related to other things as well. It can also be initiated automatically, but in this case we're initiating it um manually. So here I'm adding a new job assigned by whom, assigned to whom. So let's say I assign it to Vidal and select the client in question. So here I am going to select a client, say Prasanna, and any descriptions I may have, please uh, prioritize this client. And then you will be able to submit this job. And as soon as it gets submitted,